Soccer, or football as it is called around the world, is a global sport. The beautiful game is played and watched by millions across the globe. Here in England, soccer is not only a sport, it is part of the culture. Thousands of fans flock to their local stadiums every Saturday to watch their favourite team. Soccer in America is on the rise, however still takes place behind other prominent, more traditional American sports. But can soccer become America's next great sport?
I would say there's definitely a difference between being a player here and back home in England, but no more than in any other country. I'm sure there's a slight difference. The soccer's probably a little more physical based here. There's much more emphasis on players being in the gym and being in better physical shape, whereas back home and I guess other places in Europe it's more on the technical skill of a player. That's something that's changing. As a coach, I'd say that there's differences again as well. The kids here, they are very enthusiastic, but their knowledge of soccer is probably a little less, because just any kid back in England, they kind of have an ingrained knowledge of soccer because they're around it so much more, whereas here it might be the, I don't know, third or fourth sport that they've learned. So there's the enthusiasm to play it, but takes a little longer to get things through to them. As a coach as well, I think there's more of an emphasis on coaching here. When you go to a practice session, there'll be 4 or 5 coaches to a small group of kids, whereas back in England there might only be one coach to 20 or 30 players. So I think that's definitely a positive here compared to back home, just the emphasis on coaching.
I feel soccer on the youth level is actually one of the most popular sports, actually, because it's actually the cheapest sport to play compared to the other sports. You know, with baseball, there's not as many fields. You know, basketball, you have to rent court time, and you know, fields like obviously soccer, you can go anywhere and just play. But obviously on the media side, obviously soccer is nowhere near as popular as basketball. Hockey. Well, it's probably getting a little bit more popular than hockey, but you know, baseball, basketball, and football is still more popular. But when the World Cup comes around, it's actually one of the most. You know, it's a lot more popular here than people in other countries think it is.
I think that kids, you don't really lose too many to other sports because kind of everything's seasonal here. You know, you'll play football in the fall, baseball in the spring, and for that reason there's not too much of a loss. It's kind of scheduled quite well, and if kids enjoy the soccer, they'll make the effort to come and play.
I do lose them in the winter a lot to basketball, but other than that, not as much, no. Because this is most of them. Their main sport is soccer. So.
Come across the field. Yes, and hold here.
The kids I coach actually, they look down upon the MLS. They actually make fun of them a lot of the times. They don't feel like it's a good standard, but a lot of them watch Champions League, Barclays Premiership, La Liga, and Serie A.
I think the kids here certainly watch more European soccer or even South American soccer, just because I know that, for example, the time difference means that soccer games are on around 2:45, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm sure that's when a lot of kids are getting back from school or whatever. And because there's a lot of South American kids, they follow the teams that their parents did, and I think that's where the MLS needs to do some catching up to do, because if they get the kids hooked on it, then things will take off from there. I think it's just a matter of time, because if you think how much US soccer's come on in the last 5 or 10 years, I think they're on the right track. It's something you've got to give time to. It's just that the way sports are set up in the US, everything is about high school, then college, then you go to the pros, whereas soccer around the world is a lot more, you train at your club team, sign for an academy, like the youth system of a pro team. So that's probably the only thing stepping in the way, but even in the last few years, you can see that's changed. Like the Red Bulls and things have tried to get their club side set up from a younger age.
Yes, right away, overlap, yes, right away, 1, 2, quick, very good. And again, yes, turn, Good, good. Now track back.
I think right now it's structured the right way. It just has to give time. You know, in 10 years from now, I think it's going to be, we're ranked against other countries in the world. I think we're going to be one of the top teams in the world of, 10 to 15 years, but it's just patience and time. Yes, I think soccer has potential. I just think the generation, my brother who's 13 or 14, I think his generation, the generation below that, have to work their way up. And once they're adults, I think soccer will be one of the top sports in America.
I think soccer can become the US's major sport because it's played by so many people. It's so easy to play. There's not much of a start-up cost. You don't need to buy all this, helmet and pads like you would for football. It's fun to always play. It's not like baseball where you stood around in the outfield for 2 hours doing nothing. I think it's a matter of time, and if I think the kind of governing bodies are doing the right things about the grassroots level, the coaching. I just think so much has happened in the last 5 or 10 years. I think 5, 10 more, it could be up there.